Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, and welcome to the Just Keep Swimming podcast. This is your host, Mr. Adrian Jackson, and we're in the studio again for another great episode for you today. And you already know who I got with me. It's your boy, Mr. 1-3.
Hey, what's up, guys? We're gonna try to do a different thing because you caught me off guard because I'm editing, because I'm the engineer and I'm number 1-3 with the music and all of that jazz. So welcome to the podcast.
Yeah, I got bros doing double the work, so when we start getting paid, he's gonna get 2/3 of the check because he's doing the most bulk. So
bro, give me 3/5.
Hey, we'll take
started it.
We'll work with that, bro. But we got another great episode for you guys today. And in the studio with me, I have a very special guest for me. My brother from another mother, Mr. Olumide Ogundimu, my ace club, my noob. Boy, how we doing today, newbie? Yo.
Yo. What's up, noob? Olumide Ogundimu, for all y'all who don't know. Thank you for having me on this episode. I appreciate the opportunity.
Nah, noob, man, I appreciate you for doing this for us, man. Like, I know you about to drop some knowledge for sure. So I just want to let you know why I brought you on today, man. You're not originally from here, my brother. You're from Nigeria, correct?
Yep, Lagos, Nigeria, born. Came to the U.S. when I was 7 years old. So straight from Lagos to Reno, Nevada, of all places.
All places in the world.
All places. Went to Reno, Nevada.
Yes, sir. So I just want to, I've always been just admired that, you're really from Africa, we actually met in Reno, cap out the side, we actually pledged together, made it through full play all day, Zi-Fi, no other way, you feel me? But every time, after we pledged, I started really to grow with you a lot more. And I used to really just love coming to your house and just meeting your mom, your pops, your brothers. I loved how you guys all had nicknames in African, and the food your mom used to make, you used to call it out. I'm like, man, I have no idea what it is, but I'm gonna eat it because it smells so bomb. And just now, you just gave bros, that was your first time having African rice, huh?
Oh yeah, for real. No,
that was jollof rice.
Bro, that had flavor. Yeah, soft and everything. It was great.
That's jollof rice. That's one of our main. I guess that's rice is a big part of our culture. So jollof rice, fried rice. For all of y'all that are listening, and let's say you're in Vegas, can't come to my house and have some African food, there's always a plug. Shout out to Nigerian Food Las Vegas.
Okay.
Man, that is the best African restaurant I've been to.
Okay.
Here in Vegas, in Nevada, actually. Here in Nevada. Aside from my mom's home cooking, man, that's one thing I miss. So being able to go to that restaurant and enjoy any dish that I can think of that I grew up with, man, it's and they cook it for you. They don't already prepare it. When you order it is when they start making it. So when you get it, it's hot, it's fresh. And man, I had my parents when they came, they tried it. We went to a couple African restaurants. And they could definitely tell this one was, the real deal, the fresh one. It was freshly made.
Okay, so
noted.
Yes, noted.
So Nigerian Food Las Vegas.
Yes, shout out to Nigerian Food Las Vegas sponsorship. You know what I'm saying? So holla at me, I'll just take a plate of rice. I don't need no cat. But so new, man. So I just want to talk a little bit about being, like you said, an African child coming to America, and the benefits of knowing your culture has done for you out here in America, how it's really made you stand out. So, let's take it back there. When you first came to America, how did that make you feel being, African in America? How does that make you feel?
Damn, that's a heavy question.
Yeah,
because it depends. If you're asking my 7-year-old self, my 10-year-old self, my teenage self, my 20s self, and now my mid-30s self. So many different thoughts and opinions on that. 7 years old, coming to a new country, new state. It was a culture shock. For real, a culture shock. Going from a place where, it's all black. Everybody you see is like you.
Right.
In every way, in every part of the economy, different socioeconomic statuses, and then coming to Reno, where I swear, I started 3rd grade in Reno. I swear to you, I didn't see another black person till perhaps I got to high school.
Really? Wow.
Like, yeah.
That's real.
Yeah, that's
That's
like,
a shock.
You know, what's so funny is I thought shit, maybe there's just no black people in the U.S. And the one time I did see a black person, when I said I was in high school, before I started seeing them in school, was at night. Like, I was just in my neighborhood, I saw them walking at night. So I thought, oh shit, maybe black people only come out at night. I swear to you, this is my, you know, my young mentality, thinking, oh shit, black people only come out at night here. Maybe that's why I haven't seen them ever.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was a culture shock.
That's real.
For real.
I like that. And that's real because, like, you know, like I said, me being born and raised in Las Vegas, Nevada, you know, we're raised in what a lot of people call a melting pot. Because I feel we get every single culture out here. You're gonna see your Asians, your blacks, your Mexicans, everything's out here in Vegas for sure.
I went to a high school where it was literally everything. Like, I would say probably 40% Hispanic, but then it was also an academy, so you had a lot of Asians, a lot of white people, and then, you know, black people also thrown in there because it's around the hood a little bit, and we had Indians and everything.
Imagine this. I only know these statistics because I just did a paper on it. Or not a paper, a school discussion post. Nevada only has I believe we are about 9 to 10% black.
Really? Is that low?
Yeah, it's low.
Wow.
It is low. Like, diversity-wise, Nevada is. So I gotta remember, because the paper was on, you know, how many people of color, what's the racial breakdown of prisons compared to just the state population in general.
Right.
And I believe Nevada has 66. No, that's the no, 66% white. And when it comes to black, the general population is about 9 to 10%. But in prisons here, we are about 30%. Whereas the white population is 40-something%.
Right.
So it's definitely Nevada. Even though we live in Vegas and it seems diverse, when you look at the state as a whole, no, we not here.
Not
represented here.
And that makes sense because I did feel that way when I went to Reno because, you know, I grew up in Nevada my whole life. And, you know, I went to the Mojaves, the Cheyennes, you know, the Canyon Springs, and, you know, like I said, those schools are predominantly black, you know what I'm saying? Right. Being in the inner city, we see majority African American. But then once I went to Reno, like I said, that's why I got hit with my culture shock as well, because it was like, whoa, I have not a black kid in none of my classes, you know what I'm saying? Like, you know, I'm walking this campus and the only place I'm seeing black people is in the center, you know what I'm saying? I'm also happy for that place because that was the only time we saw each other, but it's real.
It's terrible, because if you think about it, like, I didn't see anybody until high school and started realizing, oh, there are black people here in Reno. So you got to come from Vegas where you had seen black folks. So imagine your culture shock coming from Vegas to Reno, and compare that to mine where everybody, a whole country full of black folk, and you come and you don't see not one person that even looks like you. I did not know the word, you know, provocative, but
the N-word,
I didn't know that N-word when I came. I never heard it.
You heard it out here.
Didn't know what it was. I learned about it in the U.S.
Wow.
Man.
Wow.
Wow, that's a culture shock. That's a culture shock for you, bro.
So I never knew what it was. I didn't know the meaning behind it. Yeah. So
that's deep.
But yeah,
that's deep, bro. Dude, that's mind blowing. I love it though because it just shows you the real aspects of life, you know. Because that's how I kind of felt when we went to our cruise in Jamaica.
Yeah.
You know, we went to Jamaica. And when we got off the boat and we started traveling around the cities, it was like, yo, it is all black people out here. For real. Like, black people as far as the eye can see. And it really just blew my mind, you know? It really gave me that sense of home. That sense of...
Especially when we was riding in the bus. Mm-hmm. How, first of all, the bus driver was crazy. Crazy, bro.
I don't know how they were driving, bro. I have no idea how they were driving.
But man, it was just like, yeah, everywhere you look, black. And it was just like, wow, that's cool. Going down to the beach, it was just, everybody's just vibing, chilling. And they're all our color, you know? It was a culture shock for us to be honest, yeah.
Like we were saying earlier, the one piece of advice I could give to anybody, especially Black Americans, get a passport. Mm-hmm. Get a passport and travel outside this country. Mm-hmm. Preferably go somewhere that is predominantly black. Mm-hmm. You know, I was saying earlier, most Americans rarely travel outside the state that they're born in.
Right.
And when they do, it's usually for like school. Mm-hmm. And then a lot of them move back to the state that they were born in. Yeah. And they grow up there, they, you know, get married, that's where they pass, you know, that's where they live. But I would highly recommend just get a passport and go somewhere. It's really not expensive. When you first step out of this country and you start seeing like, damn, the world is so different than what you were thinking. Right. You know, it's really not as bad as it's portrayed to be on the news, on our media.
I was about to say that.
And then you start understanding like Americans grow up with that mentality, we're number one. Then you go out of the country and everybody's like, oh really? You get that look. A lot of different countries will look at Americans like, man, y'all just think you run everything. Yeah. So you go somewhere and you realize, no, you don't. Mm-hmm. This is what the world really is. Like, a lot of places don't like Americans.
Mm-hmm. That's real, bro, because it reminds me of, I don't know if you remember the time in college, but I don't know if you remember the conversation we were talking about how we always see on TV is the poor African country and the sad music and stuff. And I think you were like, bro, I go out there to Africa, my uncle throws me a car to drive around when I'm ready. You know what I'm saying? He's in a pocket full of money and I just go and explore the city. Like, what are you talking about?
Yeah. People get the wrong impression, especially with Africa. Mm-hmm. So Africa is a continent, by the way. So, which this is a little pet peeve of mine whenever people say, oh, you from Africa? Yes, I'm African, but I'm from Nigeria. Africa has multiple countries.
Yeah, exactly.
Multiple countries, multiple tribes, multiple languages, multiple cultures. So it's not just, people describe Africa as, they think of it as a country when they're talking about people, but it's actually a continent. It's a big continent. Mm-hmm. And anytime I go, like, yeah, I have an uncle who's well off, let's say that. Mm-hmm. Every time I would go to say good morning to this man, just to say good morning, nothing fancy, just to say good morning. He's like, oh, and Ayo's my family name. So then he'd just be like, oh, Ayo, I'm good morning. And this man would just hand me money, which was probably the equivalent of $1,000 a day. So when I come from knowing that and seeing the houses in Africa before I left, and even whenever I go back to visit, and then you hear people talk about, oh, Africa's poor, Africa's got, feed the children, this, that, and the third. And I'm telling them like, yo, what the fuck? What kind of image, excuse my language, what kind of image y'all got of Africa? Africa is balling. There's people out there balling. Like, my future goals is to make my money here and go ball out in Africa. Go ball out in Nigeria. Africa is gorgeous. The culture. Nigeria, I can speak on Nigeria. Nigeria is amazing and it's gorgeous, beautiful, the people, the cultures, the food. Man, you know what's one thing I used to think about when I was younger? I kind of hated being African a little bit.
Really?
Yes.
Wow. Yeah.
Voice breaking. Used to hate it because when I came to this country, man, voice breaking, my bad. But when I came to this country, the hurt, man, being in a country where you feel alone, being in a state, in a city where you feel alone, and yeah, I got it from the white kids. But then, when I did see black kids, I got it from them.
Yeah.
That whole, you African booty scratcher, you African this, African that.
Wow.
Like the negative comments that came from people that looked like me.
Right.
And it's like, instead of us teaming up together, you over here giving it to me the same way these white kids is giving it to me.
Right.
And it hurt more because these are people that I assumed were supposed to be my family, my brothers, my sisters.
Identified with,
You know, that's supposed to identify like, we in this together. But they, it hurts more when it comes from somebody that's supposed to be close to you.
No, and I understand because I can't say I truly understand where you're coming from, that feeling wise, but I do see where you're coming from because me being, like you said, an American child, I didn't think that at first. Like when I used to see an African, it took me a while to realize like, yo, we're actually the same color, and I probably should talk to this guy because he might know more about me than I do, because I used to see it as like, what was my history? My history is my grandmother and grandparents used to pick cotton in Louisiana.
Yeah.
Said, let's come to Vegas because they got casinos, we can make good money out there. And we moved out to Vegas, and then now we raised a family, we making good money out here in Vegas. And that's our history, you know what I'm saying? And it sucks because it's like, we made that okay with us.
Yeah.
We were okay with that and we accepted it. And our schooling never taught us that, you know what I'm saying? We didn't learn nothing about Africa. Africa, if you go look at a map, American map, this is Africa.
The American educational system fails children of color because the history that you're taught is American history, but predominantly white American history. So the image that Black Americans get of Africa is that's where the slaves came from. It's got a lot of forests or jungles, animals. But real talk, I have people who used to ask me, man, you from Africa? So do you guys hunt zebras, lions, and this and that? First thought to me is, who in their right mind is about to go hunt a lion? Today. Really?
You don't go hunt a lion?
You about to go hunt a lion? And second thought that came to mind was, I've never seen these animals until I went to the San Francisco Zoo.
Really?
I've never seen these wild, zebras, lions, tigers, elephants. I'm a city boy. From the time I was born to now, I have always been in a city.
Love it.
I born in Lagos, Nigeria. Lagos is like, imagine taking New York, big city, and take that and put it in the tropics.
That's it.
That's it.
That sounds lit.
That sounds lit.
That's where I'm from. Now, if I go to my mom's hometown and my dad's hometown, it's like going to Reno or going to, since we're in, Nevada,
or something.
Going to Reno or going to Carson City, smaller towns. I was born in the big city. I love being in the big city. I love the hustle and bustle.
Yeah.
Vegas is probably, let me retract. Vegas is closer to my mom's hometown.
Oh, really?
As far as size and whatnot, population.
Right.
Whereas Reno is closer to my dad's hometown.
Right.
So, but I was born in the mix, in the city, and that's every time I go back. That's where I like to be. It's got the malls. It's got the tourists, the beaches, the clubs. It's just, man, there's so much that I wish I could share with all my friends,
Right.
especially my black friends, because I want them to see, like, Africa is not what they paint it to be on this.
No, not at all, bro.
In the media at all.
Yeah, it's upsetting to know how much the media paints
It's
over
how
it.
much they lie to us.
Yeah.
Like, you know.
Straight lie.
Yes.
You know why? Here's my thought on that. On the media, we hear that Africa is poor, run down, just terrible, famine this, famine that. Yes, there's parts of Africa that are like that.
Just like parts of
But
Parts
if
of America are like that.
Right, just like parts of America are like that. You're
Right.
gonna have your poor, you're gonna have your rich. But they don't ever talk about rich in Africa. You ever notice that?
Yeah, they don't.
talk about the negatives, but never the positives.
And if it is quote unquote positive, it's a negative positive, quote unquote blood diamonds.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? So it's a
Exactly.
negative positive.
So
Yeah.
it's like, people talk about African civil wars and whatnot, about the blood diamonds. But imagine, why would they purposely put out this false narrative about Africa being so poor? But then you start looking back in history, Africa's been colonized by all these Western powers, and they're still there. There's a reason they lie to you to keep you out of Africa, but they stay in there. If it was as poor as they make it out to be, why are they still there?
Right.
Why is China in Africa?
Right.
Why is UK in Africa? Why is Europe in Africa? Why is America in Africa? They taken everything out of Africa while managing to keep you out. And as long as they have Americans, especially Black Americans, with this perception that Africa is poor, it's another way to. It's like slavery. The way they passed slavery was to make people think blacks are inferior.
Yeah.
To get people to think, okay, if they're inferior, then it's okay to do this shit.
Yes.
Same thing with the continent of Africa. If the continent is inferior, who's gonna bat an eye if we go exploit it and take all the riches out of it?
Right.
Yeah.
So it's, man.
No, and that's real. It goes back to I hate to use this guy as a reference, but Cat Williams stand-up. He was talking about when they go on the news, they don't say, "Oh, we killed 20 kids and 2 women and 3 children." No, we killed 5 infidels. And you're like, what is that? Well, shit, I don't know what infidel is, so kill all of them. They sound bad, so make it bad.
It
And
sounds bad.
it make you not care and just throw it off your shoulder and you don't care no more.
Man.
Yes.
The false narrative about Africa is just, to me, being African is so, it's hurtful. It's also very it's upsetting because having been there, having lived there, and knowing like, man, they straight lying to these people.
Yeah.
It's so infuriating. It's kind of like, that's why I always tell especially my black friends, get a passport. If you buy your ticket, don't worry. Come with me to Africa. When it comes to having a place, I got you. Come with me to Nigeria. I got you. You don't have to worry about a place to stay. You don't have to worry about your food. All you need to do, buy your ticket and bring your spending money. That's it. Don't worry. We gonna have fun. I got you. Simply because I want people to understand Nigeria, Africa is so much more than what they make it out to be in American media.
Yeah.
So
Man,
nah, bro.
I'm excited.
Yeah, no, I love it, man, because that's kind of the reason I'm doing the podcast, because so long story short, Noopy, the reason I started doing the podcast is, listen to Napoleon Hill. He talks about the mind and how it is to be positive, stuff like that. But it's like, why are all these books out publicized? Why aren't we being taught this in school? Why aren't we doing this, that, and the third? So now it's kind of like I'm on the journey to find the true knowledge that people actually need to hear, and to try to get it out there and publicized, because all these facades that we're living under, it's just making us work to the plan that they want to be going in, And it's like, that's not the life we need.
That's not living. Yeah. That's surviving.
That's surviving, bro. And that's all they want us to do.
Train us to survive, not to thrive. And how can you live in a country and it's, let me think about how to say this. As a black man, as a black woman, I can't speak on being a black woman because I'm not, but just being black, how do you ever consider becoming a king in somebody else's castle? You'll never, ever, no matter how well you work, no matter how rich you are as a black person in this country, you will never be able to crown yourself king or queen in this country, ever. Because there's always going to be that mind, that thought, that man, your equals are gonna, people that you think are supposed to be your equals will always say, well, he only got that far because he's black. Oh, that's the affirmative action going on. That's, that's favoritism. There's always gonna be that factor. Well, he's the quota. She's the quota. You can never be a king or queen in somebody else's castle. Not to say that this nation is the white man's castle, because we all know it ain't. It ain't. The original people, the Native Americans, this is their castle. So why is it we continue as black folks to try to strive to get to a higher level in this country, whereas we could just travel, pick a country in Africa and go. Just see what it's like to live not as a black person, but to live as a human being.
Right.
Like no one is looking at you like, oh, he's black, she's black. They just looking at you as Adrian. They just looking at you as a person.
Right.
Like, what can you bring? What do you bring?
Yeah.
What's your education? What do you know? How are you as a person, as a human being? That's all they're looking at.
No, that's real, bro. That's deep, dude. That's really deep, man. Because, like you said, I always felt that because living in Vegas, like you said, the melting pot, I never really looked at people differently. And then when I went to Reno, it did start to like, oh wow, they're looking at me a little differently,
Right.
Like, you know what I mean? I feel like discounts I got. I'm not on a football team.
Yeah.
So that's happening all the time. But
where people think that in order for black individuals to be successful, we gotta be athletes.
We gotta be
rappers.
Right, or drug dealers or something.
Or drug dealers. That's the only way we can make money, apparently, in white society's mind. But, it's nothing to me to think that, oh yeah, I've seen doctors. How many Nigerian doctors, engineers do y'all hear about?
Look, I'm not gonna lie, I just learned about NSBE, and that's why I love NSBE right now, National Society of Black Engineers, because they had the biggest conference ever, like just science about blacks, and I was like, yo,
it's like we when you grow up in a country where everybody's black, it's not a big deal to see somebody black as a college professor.
Yeah.
I can't remember how many of my college professors were black. I don't even recall. I have one, a woman, through all of college. In Reno. One.
I don't have a black professor, bro.
You feel me?
I don't think I did either.
No.
Like that's astounding to me. That's mind-boggling. That's baffling. I don't know how many words I could use.
No, that's
but
real.
yeah, like
that's
that
real.
You could go through college and not see somebody that even looks like you be at a higher level.
Yeah.
So as a child growing up, if you don't see this,
You don't try for it.
it's like, oh well, shit. I see black folks aspiring to be the publicized black folks are entertainers, whether it be in sports, music, or they doing it through drugs.
Right.
You know, so these are the things I'm gonna go through. If this is the only way I see, that's the path I'm gonna go.
Right.
But when you can see and know like there's so many different paths to get success, and it has like, it doesn't matter what your skin color is, it matters what your ability is.
Right.
Then there's nothing that's off limits.
Right. No, and that's real news. I love it because it goes back to, like you said, your 7OU, the idea that, you know, they always talk about the young black girl. If she's not seeing a black teacher or a black female doctor, you know, she's not even going to strive to be a doctor because she looks at herself and sees her skin and be like, okay, well, I can't be that, so let me go be a Cardi B and shake my butt for some cash.
Right.
And think that's the way it's supposed to make it, and that's what happiness is. And it's like, no, that's not the life you're truly supposed to be living, you know? That's just the life that the world threw on you and makes you to be that. Exactly.
Yeah. So just again, I can't stress it enough. Americans, black Americans, get you a passport, find a place that's predominantly black, and go. Now, it works best if you know somebody from that place to go with. It works best if you do your research. I'm not gonna, lie to you and say it's as simple as throwing a dart on a map and go. Truthfully, when you go outside the American borders, it's dangerous. As an American, it can be dangerous because people see you're American. One, a lot of countries don't really like Americans because the mentality we bring, we always looking down on everyone else because we're number one, remember? So people don't like that shit, especially when you're in their castle. How you gonna come to my country, my home, and treat me as if I ain't shit?
No, inside my house, right?
Right, inside my house. So, and then there's the fact that Americans are worth a lot of money. Our dollar, for better or worse, is worth a lot in the world. So, perfect example. I now have had two people that I know when their family, both Nigerian, and when their parents, who were born in Nigeria, went back. They, born in Nigeria, raised in Nigeria, came to the U.S., made their life, and then they'll still travel and go see family, have their business, whatnot in Nigeria.
Right.
But it's dangerous because now those two people's parents, when they went, different times, they got kidnapped.
Right.
So, like, my ex in college, her mother went to Nigeria, got kidnapped.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, got kidnapped, was out for whether days or weeks. Like, it was a big thing. And the kidnappers demanded money. This past week, one of my coworkers at work, one of the dietitians, she told me her dad had gone, he lives in Nigeria. He's a professor in Nigeria, but he's worked and lived in the U.S.
Right.
When someone saw him, here's somebody who's dressed well, he was just happened to be leaving a friend's house, and someone kidnapped him, hit him, took him out in the jungle. It is dangerous out there as an American. If anyone thinks you have money, you need to be wise about your movements. Keep your head on a swivel.
But that's real life though.
That's
if you walk around looking nice one day.
I'm not gonna dress you to the T and go to South Central in the dark.
Right.
At night.
Right.
That just be foolish.
Yeah, you trying to get robbed, right?
Right. It's the same thing when you travel outside this country. So I don't want to scare people off and have them thinking that, oh, Africa is dangerous. It's like, no, it's just be smart about your movements.
Right.
Like anywhere, if you go to Europe, it's the same thing.
Yeah.
So just be wise about your movements. That's all I'm trying to say.
So I guess that leads me to the idea of what So like, let's compare the cultures then. Like, what similarities do you see that the U.S. and the African culture, or my fault, Nigerian culture, actually have in common? And then I already know you have a lot of things uncommon, but let's focus on the common part first. Like, so what do you guys have in common at all?
Okay, commonality is, for one, just like the U.S., Nigeria was British colonized. Primarily British, so we speak English. We speak English. Not many people who since I moved here, they'll be like, oh, you're from here? Oh my God, your English is so good. And I'll be like, what did you expect? We're British colonized. In fact, my English now is worse
Than it used to be.
than when I first came to this country. Because when I came to this country, I was speaking British
Proper English, yeah.
Proper English.
Hello.
Spelling proper English. So much so that when I was in 5th grade, my teacher at the time told my mom aside, and was like, oh, his English is terrible, his spelling is terrible. Needless to say, this was a white woman. So she's just going off about all the negatives with my English, how poor my English is. And my mom, thank God, strong woman, was like, what are you talking about? He's speaking the Queen's English. You're speaking
The trash English.
English.
Yeah.
So I had to let her know. But, through years of me as a young child trying to assimilate into a different culture, I let that go.
Right, you start picking up slang and stuff.
I started picking up more of the American way of speaking, the American accent, just the different things to fit into American culture, which unfortunately meant I let part of my own culture go.
Right.
As a kid, like I said, I used to hate it because you just want to fit in, so you don't speak your language. In fact, I was the one to speak my language with, except for my parents.
Right, exactly.
So it was like people my own age are speaking English, and anytime I say something with my African accent, with my Nigerian accent, I'm getting, they roasted me about it. So of course, I'm changing that up. So that's one similarity. Let's say the language. We speak English for sure. In fact, we speak multiple languages because not only are you going to speak the language from, your tribe, which mine is Yoruba. So I speak Yoruba. I understand Yoruba. But I'm also, in our schools, we're taught in English. We speak English. We write English, So we're speaking, oftentimes, if you see a Nigerian or an African, they're speaking their native tongue as well as their colonizer's tongue. So if you look in Africa was colonized by the English, the British, the Dutch, the Germans. So different parts of Africa you'll go to, you'll be like, oh shit, there's black people that speak French, there's black people that speak German, there's black people that speak Dutch, Portuguese, and it's like, well, yeah, we were colonized. So we ended up speaking the language of our oppressors, So it is what it is. So that's one similarity. Another similarity I would say is, there's so much. We do have stores, we got malls, we got beaches, we have zoos.
It's life out there.
It's just life. Just imagine life in the tropics.
And our perception just made it terrible.
Right.
That's crazy, bro. I love it, man. So then now, what is the, so like you were saying, when you were a kid, you wanted to fit in. So I'm guessing now as an adult, you probably wish you didn't drop a lot of those culture things, or you wish you would have held on to a lot of your, you know what I'm trying to say. Your heritage, I guess. Not the time, they said edit.
I forgot about that.
Great.
Yeah, it's
delicious,
fire, bro.
yeah.
No, I had to eat mine up first. I just ate breakfast and I ate that rice too.
But yeah, as a kid I let a lot go. As an adult, I started realizing that, man, why am I trying to fit in? It was tough. It was tough. It wasn't. I have to be honest. it wasn't until I went back to Nigeria as an adult. Because I'd gone back as a kid. You know, when you go as a kid and you go with your parents, the most you're really doing is you sitting at home while your parents go visit family and this and that. Same as here. When you're a kid and maybe you have a family reunion in another state or wherever, where you got to travel with your parents, you're being dragged around to, oh, this is your auntie, this is your uncle, this is so-and-so, this, and it's like, I don't know these people. I don't know what to say to them. You know, I've grown up years away from them. Like, maybe they saw me when I was born. That's about it for me. I don't remember.
Babysit you or something?
Right. Like, y'all introduced me like I'm just supposed to know these people. So as a kid, it wasn't much fun because you're just being dragged around. And if you're not being dragged around, you're being left at home doing nothing. When I went back as an adult, however, and I got to kick it with my cousins that had traveled outside of Nigeria, and maybe they studied in UK or they studied abroad, or even the ones that didn't, but they're my age. We like in our 20s now. I went around, and first thing I'm thinking is, all right, I'm not kicking it with my parents anymore. Let me kick it around people my own age.
Right, my family, yeah.
Yeah, they took me out to beaches, clubs, man, and it was just, I got to see like, oh shit, I'm doing everything that I could have done in the US, but I'm having even more fun because everybody around me looks like me and wants to have fun like me.
Respects me, everything.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't have to worry so much about, oh, am I going to get into it with this person or that person?
Or this music or anything.
This music,
yeah.
like, and I gotta say the women, yo, the women, when I went, my head was on a constant swivel.
Breaking his neck.
Yeah. No, I shit you not. My neck every fucking second. I'm looking left and right and just like, damn, these women just gorgeous. They thick, they beautiful. And they just, wow, amazing. And then I went to a club with one of my cousins, you know, and it was just, you know, just like here in the US, you go to a club, you see dancers, right? Maybe they're not a strip club, but just a club.
Yeah, like a little pole dancer.
You have the girls that are on a table here dancing, but they work in the club. And I went with him. It's called The Shrine. For anyone that's been in Nigeria, in Lagos, The Shrine with Fela Kuti's Shrine.
Shout out.
So, I went and I saw these women in cages. And like, that's where they would be doing their dances. They'd walk in and man, the way they were dancing and twerking, the first thought was like, this is where it comes from. This is the originators. Like, anything I've seen in the US or girls twerking in the US can't compare to this at all.
Indeed.
Like, that's the original. And I was just like, damn, these girls can twerk. They twerk and they move and they gorgeous. But then here's the thing. As I was in Nigeria too, I started talking to these women. Not only are they gorgeous, but they're intelligent. They are, you know, you find women in all levels of society. You know, rich, poor, you know, educated, not educated. Same as you would here. But the women I was around, you know, kicking it with my cousins, all intelligent, beautiful black women. That's when I started having more of an appreciation, in fact, for black women. Right. Because remember, I grew up in Reno. So it was...
The black girls bring trouble, they headaches, they fight.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's not a good example.
So there wasn't much to choose from. You know, it was predominantly white, and I dated some white girls. It wasn't until college that I started seeing black women come in and then going to Nigeria and being like, damn, this feels right. This feels right. I don't have to worry about, you know, dating this girl and her mom calling me all types of N-words over the phone because her daughter left home.
Right.
True story too. That really happened.
Oh, I know yours.
That really happened.
I got the most wildest true stories in the world, bro.
I didn't know. This girl and her family, you know, She got into an argument with her mom. Her mom never met me. The moment she told her parents that she was dating some guy named Olumide,
Lost her mind.
that she lost her mind. Never met me, never saw me, just lost her mind. Daughter gets into it with her mom. She leaves, she comes to my spot. I get a phone call on my phone talking about you and you this, you
How
that.
did she get you?
That's what I'm wondering. How old girl get my number? But of course, she probably got my number by going through her daughter's phone.
Yeah, phone
You
or
know,
something.
call me, talking about you effing and you effing this, that. Where's my daughter? And I, knowing her daughter's in bed with me, she's right next to me. Ma'am, I don't know who you are, but I don't know where your daughter is. Sorry. Knowing damn well she's right next to me.
Right.
But I swear to you, that was the last time I ever dated a white chick, because it was like, man, this is too much headache. I can't date somebody that I know for a fact that her family, no matter
what.
they always gonna look at me as that black man.
Mm-hmm.
The black man that took their white daughter. So going to Africa, going to Nigeria, and just seeing all these beautiful black women started getting me to be like, yo, our queens are gorgeous.
Mm-hmm.
Came back to the U.S., seeing it more. Now I knew what I wanted, and that's what I looked for.
Right.
And it is very hard to date in a culture where the women, they're all, they're American. Black, white, Asian, whatever, they're American. So finding somebody that would understand my culture as well, because I am American and I'm African. I'm an African American.
Yeah.
I need
true African American.
Right.
Yeah.
So I got the passports to prove it. But it's like dating was difficult,
Right.
to get someone who understands that I got this African side just as much as I got this American side.
Right.
So, but yeah.
That's deep. So I guess that brings like another idea to my mind then. Like you said, you need to find a partner that's going to accept your culture. So that's like outside the love life, like friends wise. Do you have any like friends that wasn't accepting of your culture at first? Or did you find yourself like people that accepted you a little differently or a lot easier? Because like, oh my God, she's cultured. I like this guy. You know what I'm saying?
Man, it was tough. I mean, dating, you'll have women who were like, oh, I don't really want to try this food. Or I don't really want to hear this music. Or the clothes look funny. This is growing up. And then and then even dating in Nigeria. Don't get me wrong, I talked to women there, and I was too American in Nigeria, and I was too African in the U.S., in America. So it was like, you gotta find somebody who
Can blend in.
can understand the two, that you are a product of two cultures. So that's tough. That's a tough thing to do, to find.
That's interesting. What about like friendship wise? Like, did you find yourself connecting with people a little easier because you kept to your culture? You was like, yo, I'm not doing that because.
Well,
or how's that work?
Friend wise, I mean, growing up in Reno, like I said, I assimilated. Yeah, when my friends found out I was African, I mean, just from my name, I'm not from around here.
Yeah, I'm up here, exactly.
So you make friends as a kid, and some of those friends I still have to this day. And it got easier once you get to college, because now you got people coming from different cities, different
all
states.
over the world.
So there, it's getting the fish pond. First you're in a fish bowl. Now you're in an aquarium.
Yeah.
It's getting a little bit bigger, and you're seeing different people with different frames of mind. You get people that might have come from Atlanta or predominantly New York, and they're seeing like, oh, it's no big deal. Yeah, we have a lot of Africans. They're open to it. So, or Vegas, where you get people who've seen other black folks, and they might have run into some Africans. They might have known a little bit, and they have college is a time where more people have an open mind to learn new things.
Yeah.
So that was definitely good for me. I wish I do, however, wish I would have gone out of state for college. I stayed in the same city and the same state and went to school where I grew up.
Bro, no, I 2 years ago I went to was it Tennessee State? Somewhere in Tennessee State, somewhere in Nashville for their homecoming. Oh my God. So bro, it was literally, we was in front of the Texas Stadium, football stadium. They throw a tailgating party that starts at like noon and goes until about 2 o'clock at night. Black people as far as the eye can see.
Yeah.
Deltas, AKAs, Kappas, noobs had their own tents, multiple tents. There's 20 different DJs out there, dude. But that was the college experience. I was like, man, I wish we could have experienced it, bro. We should have did that.
Yeah. I wish I could have done that, but it is what it is.
Okay, yeah, nah, that's real, bro. But you know what? I think what I'm like really enjoying about your conversation though, it sounds like, you know, yes, it was probably a bigger scale than how I'm gonna explain it, but it sounded like a kid going to a new school for the first time and really having to learn to adjust, to figure out what is good for me and what I'm going to keep, at the same time what I'm going to take on from these new friends that I'm meeting or these new people that I'm learning from.
Right.
And it's like you really have to, 1, be open-minded, 2, hold to your values, and then 3, adjust where you need to adjust at.
Yeah, that's a good analogy. You know, what's funny is, as an adult, especially now that more people are listening to Afro beats, they're liking our music. They're now learning about our music. It's not that it hasn't been there, it's been there. But they're just now playing some stuff on the radio when I hear it on the radio, I'm just like, oh shit.
Wow, how y'all get this on?
How y'all know about this? Granted, by the time they play it on radio here, this is stuff that's been months past.
Yeah, it's been out, CD.
Right, it's been out. It's been like, man, y'all late, but I'm glad you're catching up.
Yes,
you know? Yeah. So it's, I had to learn as a kid. As a kid, I let go a lot of my culture. As an adult, however, sometimes I get annoyed now with how my culture is kind of out there now. You know, for example, if I see people out and about, Black Americans, for example, or even white folks, especially white folks, wearing African attire, sometimes I have to think about it and I get annoyed about it because these are the same kids that when I was growing up, you know,
they talked about you.
They talked about me. They didn't. The African culture was a negative to them.
It was a joke. Yeah.
It was a joke. But now, as an adult, now you listen to our music. Oh, okay, cool. Yeah. Now you want to dress like us. Oh, okay, cool.
Nah, that's real.
You know,
you see it in stores and everything.
It's in stores.
Yeah.
It's been mass marketed. It's been turned into a fad, and that's what annoys me. Because believe it or not, those attire, the clothing we wear, a lot of them have significance to them.
Yeah.
It's like, now I've got attire in my closet that if I pull that out, everyone that's African in my family knows, oh, that's the attire that everyone wore for grandma's funeral. Like, they can identify
when, where,
what the significance of these clothing, this attire is from. So to just see somebody just wear it and think, oh, I'm just gonna wear it because it looks cool. Great, I'm glad you're learning about the culture. And to that point, but I want you to really know about it, understand that, I don't just dress like this because I want to dress like this. I do.
There's a reason.
There's a reason I wear what I wear. There's a reason why I do. It means something. So it's. I don't want you to just be part of cultural appropriation. I want you to know about it.
Yeah.
If you want to learn about Africa, cool. Yes, please do. Learn about Africa. Learn about whatever I can tell you about being Nigerian. I will gladly have that discussion and explain it to you and teach you if you're coming with an open mind. Right. If you want to go, please, let's go. I got you. Get the ticket, get your spending money, get your passport and your visa. I got you. I will teach you about this culture. Don't just do it to be part of a fad.
Yeah.
Like, remember when Black Panther came out?
Yeah.
Yes.
Everybody was wearing that shit.
Everybody was African for it. Yeah,
Everybody was African for how long though?
Shit, month of February.
Right. It came and it went.
Yes.
It came and went. There's some people hanging on to it, and I'm glad that the movie came out and it showed black folks in a different light. Because that movie was probably the first big blockbuster movie that was probably predominantly black.
Yes.
And you got to see black royalty.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's all about to say,
Like,
but
Black royalty. Aside from Coming to America,
Right.
you know, the first one.
Yes.
But you got to see black folks in a positive light.
Right.
And you got to see the whole array of black folks. Bad, good, in between, you know.
Mm-hmm.
That was cool. And when everyone came out, I was like, oh shit. In fact, some of the music that was playing, like, it's stuff we've been listening to.
Mm-hmm.
Some of the artists, you know, Pata Ranking, Davido, Wizkid, you know, Mr. Easy,
Right.
Burner Boy, like, all that was like, I'm glad it's out. And I just don't want this thing to be a fad.
Right.
Like, I want black folks to learn about where they're from, because the strength it gives me just knowing, like, yes, I'm in this world, but I'm not of this world. There's something greater I'm part of. I am part of something greater. I'm part of a greater history.
Greater culture, yeah.
Greater culture. Not to knock the American culture at all, but just saying I know where I'm from.
Right.
I know what it's like to be in a place where you're not discriminated upon because of your skin.
Right.
Like, I know what it's like to be treated as a human being, not as a black person. So I wish, especially for my black American friends, to just travel and experience that, because once you experience that,
It opens
and you come back, if you go, you said you were in Jamaica.
Yeah.
Once you go to a predominantly black country and you see how things are working, how people are living, and they're not dying, they're not poor.
They was having a blast.
Yeah, they're having a blast. And then you come back and you know that feeling like, damn, I was in a place. You start realizing, like, man, I wasn't worried about being black at all. I didn't worry about cops being behind me. And shit, I got a hand on 10 and 2. You ever been tailed by a cop?
No, I already know, bro. You already
The
know.
moment you get a cop behind you, that stress, that automatic stress, just like, oh shit. Like, let me act right. Buckle. Drive this way, drive that way.
Right.
And you gotta make sure, as a black person, that you are not reaching, you're not doing nothing suspicious.
Too wild. I'm not moving too fast.
Don't move too fast, don't move too slow.
And the
Yes, sir. No,
thing
sir.
is like, you were never doing anything wrong.
You weren't right. You weren't doing shit wrong. You were driving just fine on your own. But the moment the cop gets behind you, that's your first stop. Now, when you travel to another country and you are without that thought, a predominantly black country, and you're without that thought, it's like, it's different. Because now you've had a break from thinking like that shit, could something happen to me just because I'm black?
Right.
The moment you step outside your door here in the U.S., then you go to another country, you're without that thought, you're on a true vacation, a mental vacation from that. And then you come back, it's like, damn.
No, that's
That weight that just comes back on you.
Yeah.
Just like, fuck.
No, and that's so real, Noop, because I'm about to wrap it up. But yeah, that's real because, like I said, the little trip I took to Tennessee, that was my first time going to a homecoming for black college, pretty much.
Right.
And it was just the idea of being in Las Vegas. If you see an event with over 200-something people and they're all African American, you might want to get out of there soon because a fight might hop off, a fight might break out, someone might start shooting. Something negative is going to happen. It scares you. But then on the flip side, when we was out there in Tennessee at that event in Nashville, it was black as far as the eye could see, and I had no sense of feeling out of place, out of pocket. I felt at home. I felt like this is where I'm supposed to be. Everybody, so my people right now, and just the idea of let me go back and feel that for a whole country now.
Yeah,
that's mind-boggling.
It's a different feeling when you truly are free. When you have that freedom where you just like, okay, I can go somewhere and not feel like I'm allowed to be judged for the color of my skin, but for the content of my character, like Dr. King was saying.
Exactly.
You know, Malcolm X, Marcus Garvey, they had it right. Anytime, you know, go back to Africa used to be an insult. Now, yeah, by all means, go back to Africa, go see what it's like.
Right.
See, it's different.
Right.
But yeah, just go back to Africa. Go check it out. See what it's like. See the positives. See the negatives. See the truth. It's you know, understand those kind of things.
Yeah.
So
Respect
it's
That's
respect. Just go and experience it. For if you do anything in this life that's on your bucket list, especially being black, find a time to go to Africa. Just go. Just up and go.
So then that's real, bro. So I'm adding that to my bucket list for sure. It's been on my bucket list for sure, no question, man.
Yes.
So
We'll go to Egypt.
man,
Just
anything.
up and go.
All of it.
Anywhere. Just
Just
find
go.
the time and go. It's not that difficult to travel as people make it out to be. It's not that expensive to travel as it's made out to be. Africa, Nigeria is not as negative as people make it out to be. You know, just
do it and try.
just do it.
Yeah.
You know, could it be any worse than being here? Now, granted, if you're going, you gotta get out of that first world mentality, though.
Yeah.
There's stuff you got, as an American, when you travel
gotta
outside the
open your
country,
mind
you know, you gotta keep your head on the swivel, for sure. But at the same time, open up your mind. For example, can you be without your phone for a week?
Easy.
You sure? Can you be without electricity for a week?
That's different.
That's different.
Right. Because, yeah, we do have those type of infrastructure issues, you know, so just, there's times where you'll be in Nigeria, where I've been in Nigeria and the power just cuts out. And you'll be without light for whether some hours to some days. And it can be hot, you know, depending on what time. It's pretty warm compared to being here in Nevada.
Right.
If you're there in December, yeah, you're really hot. It's humid. So if you can't go camping, for example, that's a good rule. If you cannot go camping without your phone, except for emergency reasons, if you can't go camping for some days, then don't go. Don't go to Africa. Simply because I wouldn't want somebody. If I'm taking people, yeah, I'll take people, but I'm not gonna take people that while I got you there, all you're doing is complaining.
And dying, yeah.
Cause that takes out you messed it up for me.
Yeah.
You know, like shit, you ruining my high. You know, like I want you to be able to go and understand it's not the U.S. Things don't work like they do in the U.S.
It's all different
You
world.
know, it's a different world, different country, different culture, different languages. Learn how to go with the flow. If you can go with the flow, man, you will have fun. I will take people out to the fun places, and you will see. It's, man.
I like it, Noob. I like it, bro. So, I feel you dropped some great knowledge, Noob, man. I feel you really opened up the minds for sure. Definitely on, you know, just comparing the two worlds. You know what I'm saying? One country to a whole nother country, and just talking about, you know, how we got these false mindsets that we need to let go to really understand what's truly out there and truly appreciate what we're missing because we're stuck with these mindsets, man.
Yeah.
So, you're on the Just Keep Swimming podcast. And I always want to ask my guests, like, what is something they're still swimming to? So, like, when it comes to your, you know, culture heritage, what are you still working on to make that stronger to what you want it to truly be?
Well, what my goals are, just keep swimming. I told you earlier, my goal is to find a way where I can continuously be making at least $7 to $10 grand a month.
Right.
Here in the U.S., whether it be by real estate, renting out property, developing property, or any kind of business, and then going and living in Nigeria.
Right.
Because imagine that exchange rate, man.
That
The American dollar is powerful.
Yeah.
One US dollar is over 350 naira.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So if you come in with $7,000 alone a month, yeah, you'll be set. I mean, man, you'll be set. That's what I'm trying to get to.
Okay.
You know, most immigrants that come to this country don't plan on living here for the rest of their lives. Because they've seen better. You know, so they want to come here, make that money,
And then get out of here.
and get out. My dad did that. He's retired. He got his houses. My mom's got her houses. Like, yeah, we all hustling here because we planning for the next chapter in our lives.
Right.
So, I mean, that's my just keep swimming. That's my goal. I want my kids to be able to understand. Yeah, they may be born in the U.S.
Right.
But here's where their culture lies.
Yeah.
Here's a country where you can crown yourself king.
Right. And can nobody take that from you.
And no one can take that shit from you. You can crown yourself queen. No one can take that shit from you. As long as you are in another man's castle, you can never crown yourself king or queen, no matter what your thought is, because it's never your home. So, again, I urge everyone, do your ancestry test. Find out where you're from.
Where you from?
Or just find a friend who's from a different country and just learn about it.
Yeah.
Go. Get out of these borders.
No, and you know what? I'm so glad you did that right at the end. Because, yes, we talked about African American and, you know, Africa, but you know what? I'm a black man. You know what I'm saying? This goes for anybody who's Hispanic, Asian,
Right.
You know, Indian, who's never actually been home or just feels certain about their culture. This goes for you too. You know, go back and learn about your culture, learn about your history, your people, because you know we're all different for a reason. Yes, we're the same, but we're all different, and that right there can probably bring greatness. You know what I'm saying? Your mindset is different than ours because you come from Africa and you have that. You know,
all that history. For example, we got a lot of Caucasians in this state. But whenever you ask white folks, where's your family from? They'll tell you, oh, we're Irish, we're German, we're Dutch, we're Polish. You know, they got all this and they can go back to that.
Yeah, they go back.
They can learn about that. They learn about that in school. We as black folks don't.
No.
They don't teach us, oh yeah, you're part Yoruba, or you're Nigerian, or you're from Cameroon.
Right.
Your peoples is from this place. This is what they were doing.
Right.
The furthest back most black Americans know is slavery.
Exactly. That's
And that was it.
And you have to take an elective for that.
Exactly. Most times you're not even going to learn about it until you get to college. And that's an elective.
Yes.
So, yeah, just keep swimming. I urge everybody, no matter what country or no matter what history you're from, do your DNA test. Learn about your culture. Whether you're black, Hispanic, Asian, whatever, learn about your culture, because once you learn about your culture outside these borders, your mind gets out of the borders.
Yes.
You're able to escape the mental borders in your own mind.
Yes.
So
I love that. And I'm gonna use that. I always like to ask everybody to leave a quote. I'm gonna use that for your quote. You know what I'm saying? Learn about outside the borders to get your mind outside the borders.
Exactly.
That's deep. I love that, Nuki, man. I
Right.
really do, man. So I don't know if you have any projects or anything you're working on, anything you want to share with the people right now.
Man, only thing I'm working on right now is towards my master's degree.
Yes, sir.
Working and trying to get that master's. Somebody once told me, make my money in the West, learn to spend it back at home, back in Nigeria. It was actually a businessman in the airport. He just told me, like, yeah, you may live outside in the diaspora, but do what you gotta do to take from what the white man's gonna teach you, the money the white man's gonna give you, the money and culture that the West is gonna do, but bring that home and make this better, make us better. Nigeria's only 1960 is when we got our independence.
Oh wow.
So we're still fairly young.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's what I'm working on, is to get my education, get my money, and be able to take that knowledge and income and wealth back. Because yeah, Africa's been there for centuries. Nigeria's been there for centuries, even before it was Nigeria. But we're still a fairly young country. And the only way it's going to get better is for those of us that are outside of that country, whether Black American or African American, to take what we know and go to where we originate from and make it better. We can have a better continent. Africa can be the dominant continent in this world. Where they gotta learn our languages.
Real talk, yes.
So, but we can only do that together.
Yes.
So yeah, that's what I'm working towards, and man, y'all pray for me.
Oh man,
It ain't easy.
Yeah, man, but you know what, bro? Like you said, you're gonna Just Keep Swimming podcast, bro. We all still swimming somewhere, and right now, like I said, you just passed a great amount of knowledge for sure, definitely on heritage, culture, and just learning about where you from and where your people from, and yeah. Travel, folks. We gotta travel. We gotta see the world. We gotta expand our minds. We gotta get out these little bitty circles that we're stuck in. So
Get a different perspective.
yes. So Olumide, man, I just want to say I appreciate you, Ace. You know what I'm saying? We always rocking together. Once the new episode come down, I will let you know. We'll get that going right away.
How's Steph?
Yes, sir. Bros, you already know, man. I appreciate you for another great episode, brother. Another one. Rock the stage.
Right back at you, boomerang.
Yes, sir. Yeah, so everybody out there listening, I just want to say, send out all your questions, comments, concerns, send them to jkspodcast702@gmail.com. We'll be sure to get back to you. Any questions you got for Olumide, you want to buy him a plane ticket and take him out for Africa, let him show you around, hit us up, let us know. I'll make sure he gets the email. I'm sure he'll be down to fly with you. But other than that, I just want to tell everybody to have an amazing day, a great afternoon, a wonderful evening, and remember, just keep swimming.
Just keep swimming.